Hello, hope you're all well. Now, the last top video we did, which was we talked about financial situation in non-league. Now, that went down really, really well, so thank you very much indeed for actually watching that, actually putting up, listening to me for 9 minutes. But today we're looking at a topic that I thought it's certainly divided an opinion since its inclusion this season. That is the National League Cup. But first of all, if you're new around here, of course, like, subscribe to the channel. We're on the way to 3,000 subscribers. You guys have been smashing the likes recently, so thank you very much indeed. And I thought, you know, while we're on the basis of football, and that sounds a bit weird, but yes, football and non-league, which, you know, has helped build the channel over the last 6 years, we thought we'd delve into let's be honest, a really touchy subject. So yes, the National League Cup. Now, if you don't know what the National League Cup is, basically it's 16 teams from the National League, 16 from Premier League 2. If you don't know what Premier League 2 is, Premier League 2 is effectively the feeder leagues, well, feeder teams that go into, well, your main teams. So Manchester City, Man United, Leeds United, Newcastle United, Southampton. A lot of these teams, basically, it's like the under 21s, but you're mixing with under 23s in there as well. So realistically, it gives them a bit more exposure, and well, it does ineffectively. It will with competitive sides from the National League. Now, for me, this has caused, you know, a major backlash with games and teams and whether it's actually worth it. Now, in the regular National League season, you've got 46 games. Now, that's excluding FA Cup, that's excluding the FA Trophy, your county cups that, you know, that teams are going to be competed in. So realistically, you might play 3-4 extra games in the season. That's 50 league games. On top of that as well, you play, I believe it's something like 6, 7, 8 games in this National League Cup. So you're probably talking 58, 59 games a season. Now, people are on about player welfare and all this, and a lot of the big clubs have gone on about it very recently. Is this something that has a potential to be really a car crash of a competition? Well, with the acquisition of getting rid of FA Cup replays and scrapping them, which if you haven't seen my video of that, go check it out, because I believe it's an absolute joke that they've done that, and the National League actually voted in favour of scrapping the replays in the FA Cup, which again, I can't see why they've done that. Purely the fact that a lot of the clubs thrive on having, you know, a big team coming down to their venue, TV, money. It's a no-brainer. But the fact that we've scrapped FA Cup replays where they actually meant something with a cup that realistically it's completely meaningless, I just don't see what the point is. Now, at the time of recording this, they've had the last sort of round of the National League Cup, and I've just taken a couple of the sort of the attendance figures that we've seen, and big thanks to Tom, who runs the Twitter, on his own Twitter. He showed some of the average attendances that would be going in the National League Cup, certainly the last sort of round, and you've had 437 for Braintree, and the worst was 157 for Woking. Now, my opinion, is it worth it? Has it been worth it with some of these games? I mean, on the positive, has it actually made them more competitive? Well, yeah, because we've seen loads of goals. Take, for example, Dagenham and Redbridge playing Tottenham Hotspur 2. They finished 6-5 to Tottenham. In the last couple of games, we've seen 5-1, 4-0, 4-1. There's plenty of goals. I mean, you could argue from an entertainment value and amount of goals. Well, yeah, I mean people aren't going to like that, but it's certainly, yeah, we've certainly had plenty of goals, which, you know, from an entertainment point of view, you can't fault that. This is where, for me, my opinion, where people, you know, are people willing to give up their time to go and watch their football team play effectively a dead rubber game? Well, given the attendance figures, well, yeah. The only reason why Altrincham are getting so many decent support is, well, they're giving admission for free. Now, you're not going to turn that down. You'd be pretty stupid to turn that down watching a free football game. I certainly wouldn't. But it's the basis of trying to attract fans to a competition where, let's be honest, off the back of scrapping replays, you try and announce this competition where more teams are going to be playing games. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. So some of the information that you get as well, for example, looking at the Premier League sort of press release that they put out, along with Mark Ives as the general manager of the National League, the combined prize fund for the competition is £1 million that's been provided by the Premier League, and the prize money will be distributed only to the National League clubs. Now, effectively, that's £1 million to be distributed out to 16 National League clubs that have actually taken part in this competition, which, when you actually do the maths, which, hang on, so 1 million divided by 16 it leaves you with £62,500. Now, alright, it's money in the day and it's money to keep clubs going, but it's pennies, absolute pennies. And I just don't see the point of this competition where, like you say, you're playing against next generation footballers, which, albeit, yeah, that's fine, but competitive wise, it's the same as the AFL Trophy, the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, or whatever you want to call it, Papa John's Trophy. When it was just League 1 and 2, it was miles more competitive and it was actually more enjoyable. I don't understand why they brought in the Premier League under 21s. I just think it's ridiculous. I personally don't like it. I've not gone to see an AFL Trophy game for 7 years now. The last one was actually 2018. Was the last time I ever went to one. So personally, well, the amount of negativity that's been on social media and the fact that the National League's actually brushing it off, they've got to know that this figure isn't working. But look, they'll continue to push it. So then, what would be the solution if, for example, if I was in charge and was actually looking to do something with it? Well, first of all, I wouldn't have the Premier League 2 teams in. Just saying. I just think they can have their own league, they can do what they want, so be it. For me, I'd be bringing back something that, when I was growing up, certainly watching football in the early sort of noughties, effectively when I was growing up it was the LDV Vance Trophy. Now you had League 1 and 2, and you had 10 clubs from the conference that used to be invited to take part in the competition. Now, given that League 2 and the National League is, a lot of the clubs are very, very similar in terms of quality, in terms of size as well. Personally, I think you could probably bring that back and it'd be more competitive, because a lot of the clubs are very, in terms of quality and everything else, I think personally it would make the games more interesting. And I think you'd get more teams that actually would come and watch them, and actually the fans as well. I just think that, what would you rather have? Would you rather have someone like, I don't know, Altrincham against Birmingham City, or would you rather have Boston United against Leeds United Premier League 2? There's a no-brainer. Or is it me just looking at this through rose-tinted spectacles and losing the tradition of what football really is? There's a lot of traditionalists like myself that, is, in terms of revamping and modernising football, is it for the better right now? Probably not. And again, this goes back to me saying about player welfare. Now, again, the whole situation about players playing too many games. Well, yeah, they are, but that's the powers that be that have made that decision. Not me, not your average Joe. Yeah, but whether the National League Cup is here to stay, it probably is. And look, this is their first season. What finds out, so be it. What they could do, another option could be is get rid of the Premier League 2 teams and have your National League North and National League South teams. Surely that would be a National League Cup, because then you'd have all 3 divisions fighting for a competition. And I'd watch it. I'd certainly watch it. And I'd go to the games. But for the powers that be, it's not fashionable enough. But yeah, what do you think? Am I being delusional? Am I being stupid? What do you think? How would you, I mean, I know what would be the simple question is, would you scrap it? Yeah, I think a lot of people would say that. But if you were to have this idea of this National League Cup, or even if you wanted to integrate a lot of the teams from the National League into the EFL Trophy, maybe revamp it and modernise it, what do you think? You know, could we have something like League 1 and 2 and the National League being in a competition? Because, like I said, a lot of the clubs, certainly from League 2, National League, there's not a lot of difference. So, is there a time to maybe look at it and go, let's tweak it a little bit? Because I always want to look at this at the silver lining. I'm not wanting to bash the cup competition. I think, you know, the National League have got a set of cojones on them for actually trying to introduce something, especially in the midst of, well, scrapping the FA Cup replays. But should we actually look at this idea and go, maybe we could try and tweak something with it? I don't know. What do you think? Like I said, am I looking at this from roasted to spectacles, or am I just being plain stupid? But yeah, at some point we'll go and see a National League Cup game and actually take it all in, and then just for me to deliver my verdict, whether it's anything the same as what a normal would be, you know, just going to a normal game, and actually maybe even actually comparing it as well in terms of pricing and, you know, just the overall experience. I mean, your average National League ticket now is what, 16, 17 quid, maybe even more than that now. So let's actually see. I mean, I might do a follow-up to this as like a part 2 and just say my experience of being in the National League Cup and actually document it and actually see, well, is it actually better value for money than going to watch a National League game? But anyway, what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Just drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back with another episode of this series. See you soon.